In the records of history, few stories are as captivating and complex as the transformation of the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire. This journey, marked by centuries of unrest, revolution, and remarkable personalities, reshaped the ancient world and left a lasting legacy that still fascinates us today. Let us find more into this epic tale, where victory and tragedy, ambition and betrayal intertwine to form the grand narrative of Rome. When the Roman armies returned from their many victorious campaigns, they were met with great jubilation. The people celebrated their heroes, and the city of Rome echoed with cheers. However, this sudden glory did not bring happiness to the country. Instead, the endless wars had ruined the farmers, the backbone of Roman society, who had been compelled to abandon their lands to fight for their nation. The wars also placed immense power in the hands of successful generals and their close allies, who used the conflict as an excuse for widespread looting and corruption. The old Roman Republic, once proud of the simplicity and high principles that characterized its famous men, had become a land ruled by and for the wealthy. This shift sowed the seeds of its eventual downfall. Within less than a century and a half, Rome had become the mistress of nearly all the lands surrounding the Mediterranean. In those early days of history, a prisoner of war lost his freedom and became a slave. The Romans, who regarded war as serious business, showed no mercy to their defeated foes. The Carthaginian women and children, along with their slaves, were sold into bondage after the fall of Carthage. Similar fates awaited the obstinate inhabitants of Greece, Macedonia, Spain, and Syria whenever they dared to revolt against Roman power. 2,000 years ago, a slave was merely a piece of machinery. Today, a rich man invests his money in factories, but the wealthy Romans, senators, generals, and war profiteers invested theirs in land and slaves. They bought land in the newly acquired provinces and purchased slaves at open markets where they were cheapest. The landowners worked their slaves until they dropped dead, then replaced them with new ones from the latest conquests. The fate of the freeborn farmer was dire. Having fought Rome's battles without complaint, they returned home to find their lands covered with weeds and their families ruined. They tried to rebuild their lives, but they could not compete with the large landowners who used slave labor. After a few years of struggling, many farmers gave up in despair, leaving the countryside for the cities. In the cities, they were just as hungry, but they shared their misery with thousands of other disinherited people. They lived in filthy hovels, prone to disease and discontent. Having fought for their country, this was their reward. They became easy prey for demagogues who promised change and better lives. This growing discontent posed a grave threat to the state's stability. Despite the dominance of the rich, some families still upheld the old traditions of unselfish service to the Commonwealth. Cornelia, the daughter of Scipio Africanus, was one such person. She had two sons, Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus. When the boys grew up, they entered politics and sought to bring about much-needed reforms. A census revealed that most of the land in Italy was owned by just 2,000 noble families. Tiberius, elected as a tribune, tried to help the free men by reviving ancient laws that restricted the number of acres a single owner could possess. His goal was to revive the class of small, independent freeholders. However, the newly rich branded him a robber and an enemy of the state. Tiberius was beaten to death during a riot incited by his opponents. 10 years later, his brother Gaius attempted similar reforms, passing laws to help destitute farmers and establishing colonies for the poor. However, his efforts made most Roman citizens into professional beggars, and the colonies failed to attract the right people. Gaius was also murdered, and his followers were either killed or exiled. The next reformers were of a different kind. Marius and Sulla were professional soldiers with large personal followings. Marius was a popular hero among the disinherited, while Sulla was the leader of the landowners. In 88 BC, when rumors of trouble in Asia reached Rome, the Senate equipped an army to punish Mithridates, the king of Pontus, who had murdered all Roman citizens in Asia Minor. A struggle ensued over who should lead the army. The Senate chose Sulla, but the mob wanted Marius. Sulla, already in command, marched east to defeat Mithridates. Meanwhile, Marius returned from Africa, gathered an army, and entered Rome, seizing power. He died soon after, but his actions plunged Rome into further disorder. Sulla returned from the east and avenged Marius's supporters, becoming a dictator. He ruled Rome with an iron fist for 4 years before retiring to raise cabbages, leaving the Republic in a worse state than before. Amidst the chaos, a young man named Julius Caesar began to make his mark. He had been spared by Sulla's men due to his youth, but his ambitions were already clear. Caesar's rise to power was swift. He joined forces with Pompey and Crassus in the First Triumvirate, consolidating their control over Rome. Caesar then embarked on military campaigns that brought him fame and fortune. He conquered Gaul, built a bridge across the Rhine, and even invaded Britain. However, his growing power alarmed the Senate. When Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, defying the Senate's orders, it marked the beginning of a civil war. Caesar emerged victorious, defeating Pompey's forces and consolidating his power. He implemented numerous reforms, granting citizenship to many and reorganizing the Roman state. His efforts were aimed at stabilizing the Republic, but they also concentrated power in his hands. On the Ides of March, 44 BC, Caesar was assassinated by a group of senators who feared his growing power. Rome was once again plunged into chaos, with various factions vying for control. After Caesar's death, his grandnephew and heir, Octavian, along with Mark Antony and Lepidus, formed the Second Triumvirate. They defeated Caesar's assassins and divided the Roman world among themselves. However, the rivalry between Octavian and Antony soon led to conflict. Antony's alliance with Cleopatra and his eastern ambitions alarmed many in Rome. In the Battle of Actium, Octavian defeated Antony and Cleopatra, who both committed suicide. Octavian emerged as the sole ruler of Rome. Octavian, later known as Augustus, was a shrewd leader. He avoided the title of dictator, instead calling himself princeps or first citizen. This modesty won him the support of the Senate and the people. Over time, he accumulated all the powers of an emperor without openly claiming the title. Augustus reformed the administration, established his standing army, and rebuilt much of Rome. His reign marked the beginning of the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and stability. Rome had transformed from a republic into an empire, but the average citizen hardly noticed the change. Augustus's reign set the stage for the Roman Empire's future. His policies strengthened the state and ensured a degree of stability that had been lacking. He was worshipped as a god after his death, and his successors continued to rule with the same absolute power. The Republic's transition to empire was a complex process shaped by centuries of conflict, ambition, and reform. It serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of political systems and the enduring impact of strong leadership. The transformation of Rome from a republic to an empire had profound effects on its society. The concentration of power in the hands of a few led to the decline of the small farmer class, the rise of a bureaucratic state, and the normalization of slave labor. These changes created a society where the few ruled over the many, and personal ambition often overshadowed public duty. Despite the outward stability brought by Augustus, the Roman Empire faced many challenges. The administrative reforms, while necessary, could not fully address the underlying social and economic issues. The reliance on slave labor continued to undermine the free working class, and corruption remained rampant. The empire also had to defend its vast borders against constant threats. The cost of maintaining the military and the bureaucracy placed a heavy burden on the state. Over time, these pressures contributed to the decline of Rome. The Roman Empire, under Augustus and his successors, experienced a cultural renaissance. Literature, art, and architecture flourished, with works from poets like Virgil and Ovid, and grand building projects like the Forum of Augustus. However, this cultural golden age also masked the underlying problems within the empire. As Rome expanded, it absorbed diverse cultures, enriching its own but also creating tensions. The empire's vastness made it difficult to govern effectively, and local uprisings were common. The decline of Rome was a gradual process. Economic troubles, military defeats, and internal strife weakened the empire. The division between the Eastern and Western Roman empires, with the East becoming the Byzantine Empire, further fragmented Roman power. In 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire officially fell when the Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus. This event marked the end of ancient Rome and the beginning of the Middle Ages. The story of Rome's transformation from republic to empire is a tale of ambition, conflict, and change. It highlights the complexities of governance and the impact of individual leaders on the course of history. The legacy of Rome, with its achievements and failures, continues to influence the modern world, reminding us of the enduring power of history. Rome's journey from republic to empire is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of human societies. It is a story that continues to inspire and caution us as we navigate the complexities of our times. Thank you for watching. Remember, you are an essential part of our community. If you found this video insightful or thought-provoking, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel for more royal heritage and educational purposes.